Hello, hello. Bit of a late start, but we got there. So I am Dion from Eflowtion, a EFT practitioner and Soma instructor, Soma breath instructor. Today we are doing a bit of intuitive EFT tap and chat on the comparative judging complex, basically a title that I've just made up. It kind of sounded cool, so let's just go with it. So with all these tap and chats, we tap on the meridian point that is on either side of the hand. And as we're tapping, if anything that strikes a nerve or resonates for you, this will actually help release at the same time. So that's why we tap at the same time. And once again, if you know the different tapping points, feel free to tap along. And after I've done my little intuitive talk or chat, we'll go into an EFT round. Now, the comparative judging complex. I'm just trying to recall what I actually meant by it. Don't judge. But, well, maybe that's where we start, the judging. And by comparing something, we form a judgment. And in some respects, that judging on a comparison is actually a good thing. Is this water hot or cold? Should I eat this food? Is it a good day to go outside given the weather, sort of thing? We're sort of making a judgment call, and we also might be comparing from past experiences how that actually forms the judgment. Like I could go out today, but it's really hot, and I remember that when I did go out, when it was really hot, I got really sweaty and I just didn't have a good time. So best to stay home in the air conditioning. Or the hot and cold water. I mean, if I've done the Wim Hof method, which I have, do I actually go into the cold water or do I go into the nice warm shower? I guess in some ways these are just everyday judgment calls on things. We're comparing either experiences or just actually sensory, how we actually navigate through life. But I guess this is not what we're here to actually reframe, whether to use the hot water or the cold water. I guess with everything with the tap and chats is a reframing of things, a reframing of ideas or beliefs that tend to get stuck. And I guess if we're watching this, it's an opportunity to reframe a different belief. Okay, I just walked in, if you're wondering what that is. I swear if he sees a closed door, he has to open it. Every door is an opening for him. But, yep, that's right, exactly. You add to the tap and chat. Okay, so if we have a comparison, I guess, in the sense of, is that person better or worse than me? And are we forming a judgment on that person or on ourselves, given what we actually compare? A simple example of this is like, take beauty, for example. Like I always see beauty like as something that there will always be another beautiful person. There will always be someone a little bit more beauty. It's kind of the function of beauty. There's just like that person is beautiful, and therefore we can give up on beauty now. They've hit the scale, and therefore we can tick that off our list of we've hit the beauty. But there will always be a beautiful person, or when you think you are the most beautiful person in the room, there will always be another beautiful person that might enter into the room, or you might do or say things that make you less beautiful in other people's eyes, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What is, I was about to use a really bad analogy then, but I guess what is, how can I word it nicely? A flower to some people might be, you know, poison ivy to other people. So, but to that person, that comparison is actually like, they are beautiful to me, they mean something to me, whereas to someone else, that comparison is completely the opposite. Another way to look at it is in the sense of betterment. Am I better than this person, or are they better than me? And in some regards, some people just have natural skills and things, and they just are naturally better at things. Some people work hard to actually get those skills, sort of thing. And I guess there's always that judgment that we form of like, you know, they only got that way because of X, Y, and Z. They only got that because they know those people, sort of thing. There is almost like that bitterness of a person actually achieving. And then there's the opposite, where it's like, if they're not achieving, sort of thing, it's like, well, they should be actually achieving more, or they might not be good at what they're doing, sort of thing. It's like, to actually get somewhere in life, you've got to experience life and actually go through life to actually form an actual end goal on something, sort of thing. It's like, you don't become a millionaire or a billionaire, or a billionaire of a company, say by accident, sort of thing, or you don't just magically become very good at something. It can happen. I'm not saying that it can't, but normally there's an experience of that person trialing and failing. And whether people judge harshly on the failures or people judge harshly on the successes is not so much an act of the person, it's the act of the judger, that person that's judging. And it's almost a sense of a kind of a lack in that person, or a sense of, what I mean by lack is a lack of, it could be confidence to go out there and do what that person's doing. It could be fear. It could be jealousy. Jealousy is a big one. It could be envy, which is kind of the same in a way. Or it could be just like, you know, why not me? Why aren't I the special one, sort of thing. And in some ways, people have natural skills in things, and that, like, say, like, there's people that are naturally good at art, or naturally good at fixing a car, or naturally good at, well, a number of many things. They have that innate ability to actually do something, sort of thing. And I guess if people want to throw dirt in a way on something that is natural, sort of thing, once again, it's more the person that's throwing the dirt rather than someone that naturally. I mean, a very simple analogy would be like, you see someone doing a very good swimming stroke in the pool, sort of thing. They might be just naturally good at it. They might have done a lot of training, sort of thing. And you could be sitting on the sidelines going, well, you know, it's like their legs aren't kicking strong enough or anything like that, but are you in the pool? That's the other thing. It's like, it's easy to form a judgment when you're on the sidelines. It's harder to actually achieve when you're not actually in the water. You're not actually trying to swim, and whether it's upstream or downstream, to actually get somewhere. That could be to win a race, or for just physical enjoyment. The comparison can actually extend into everyday life. work life, for example. They have a better job than me. They're earning more money than me. They got that promotion over me. They're doing better KPIs than me. They're doing all these enjoyable things in life better than me. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. But is that them, or once again, is it ourselves? And it might be actually uncomfortable to go, well, it's not me, it's them. It's like, they've got that better job than me. They've got this, they've got that. And it's like, it almost becomes you're living someone else's life, but also living someone's life in the bitter sense of the thing. It's like they might be achieving all the good things, but you're living in the bitter shadow of it. And that's not comfortable. That's not enjoyable. It kind of like holds you back from achieving what you're innately good at. Everyone has innate good skills. Everyone has a natural talent for something. It might not be a great thing, but what brings us enjoyment is actually a fulfilling life. You can get short-term enjoyment. You can get that short-term hit of judging others. That, oh, it feels so good to sit around and blah, blah, blah about X, Y, and Z. And it's like, yeah, it's good, but so is drinking alcohol. And it's like, it's never good the next day sort of thing. You always feel a bit crappy about it sort of thing. And you kind of like ruin your weekend because you haven't really, like, you've got to recover from it sort of thing. And I guess it's two different sort of examples, but I guess if you're spending your life consuming that sort of like toxicity about because someone else is achieving something or not achieving something, then it's like all you're doing is just consuming toxicity and you kind of don't get anywhere. You kind of get hung over by the effect of it. And definitely you can form quite a good circle of people who will actually do a big circle of comparison of judgment sort of thing. And when they go round and round and round and round and round and round and round in circles about X, Y, and Z not actually doing or actually doing something in life, but they might be slowly making or quickly making increments in life whilst you're still going round and round and round and round and round about the or the faults or the non-faults, whatever it is about the actual situation about how they're achieving, and you might be just a little bit jealous about that sort of thing. Now, this is not a blaming thing, of course. How do we get that way? How do we form these comparative judgments? Because naturally, it's like, it's sort of like with everything in life, like to build a building, for example, sort of thing, you can build it by yourself sort of thing. And there's people that do set that challenge for themselves, but normally it takes a teamwork of people to actually build a building. And it takes a teamwork of people to even run a solo race. There's those people holding the drinks for that person that's running that race sort of thing. There is a collaboration of many different people that form a success. For example, in your own life sort of thing, you may, whether by your own parents or by adoptive or whatever form, you've had collaboration to actually get to where you were. Some of it might have not been that great of collaboration, but you've gotten to where you were sort of thing. So everything in life is a reciprocal give and take of things. It's not a, well, they gave me this and now I'm going to judge them for it sort of thing, because there's going to be a time where you might need people. And then because there's been so many comparative judgments, and once again, with that comes toxicity, then you might be, the pool that you might be swimming in is a pool, once again, next to the person achieving in life, but it's a pool of toxicity. You're swimming in it. Now, to get out of the pool of toxicity is having an awareness of it. And once again, how did we get to this stage? I guess, in a sense, it can come from upbringing. It can come from observable like behaviors sort of thing. If you see a caregiver doing it, you might actually do it. You might form friendships of people that actually have that pull down mentality sort of thing rather than lift up mentality. And it's just an easy pattern to fall into. But with all patterns, you can reform your pattern, you can repattern, you can form your own pattern, you can start swimming in your own pool. And by comparing yourself to others, to judging by judging others on their successes or non-successes sort of thing, it is complex, because with a pattern, sometimes these patterns take quite a lot to untangle and work out, where am I actually going round and round in circles? How did it get so easy for me to be consuming all this toxicity about how someone is not achieving or achieving? By comparison, it gets back to what I was saying about the beauty. It's like, because while you're comparing about how you might be better or less than someone else, there might be someone, and you might be feeling like either crappy about yourself or good about yourself. There's probably someone else that might be comparing their life to your life, sort of thing. The analogy I was going to use before was one man's trash is another man's treasure, sort of thing. I can now use it because I'm out of that context. But I guess what I mean by that is, like, what you see as a trashy life could be treasurable to someone else's. You might think, well, you know, like I might be on Skid Row basically, on like not really having, like, I've got a roof over my head, but like I haven't got money for food or anything like that. And that's, and I'm not saying that's not a bad situation, but there's the person on the street without that roof on that over their head, sort of thing. There could be the person that's on the street, and then there could be the person that's actually, you know, getting a lot of bad stuff done to them, that might enjoy having that freedom of just being on the street. There is a long list of comparisons that what you think is good or bad to someone else might be good or bad. Your good situation could be bad to someone else. Your bad situation could be good to someone else's. So the only way to change a situation is to reduce and move into a new mindset of, do I need to compare and judge myself to others? Is that energy that could be put towards swimming my own race, or getting out of the round and round circle that we're going in, maybe moving towards my own straight line? And sometimes that means leaving people behind. And that is uncomfortable to think about, but so is the feeling that we have of comparing ourselves to someone. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like watching endless shows on, yeah, like watching endless shows on like going overseas traveling, like travel adventure shows, but never actually going overseas. It's like, it's nice in theory to go overseas, but you'll never actually live that life because you're too busy. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? You're not actually moving forward in life. You're stuck in just observing. Wouldn't that be nice? But I'll never be able to do that because only they can. But maybe you can. And maybe it's just addressing some of the stuff that has got us stuck. And if we compare ourselves to each other, once again, that's energy that could be going towards your own self. If we're judging other people, that's a lot of energy that could be going towards our own judgment. Not judgment as in like I'm a bad person, but just addressing some of those issues that might be just not serving us too well, like are getting in our way, to where the point where we just don't care so much about what other people are thinking, because I'm sure that the people that are succeeding in life, if there was, you know, like people that, like I talked in one of my breathwork meditations about going over the horizon sort of thing, and stepping on the boat, bound by limitations was the name of the breathwork meditation on this YouTube channel, on the YouTube channel of Eflowtion. And if, like, whether this was a true thing in life, but if someone said, hey, don't step on that boat and go over the horizon, because if you do, you might be famous. And they'll kind of like, you know, it's like, I've got a thing with the ladies. It's not such a, you know, it kind of make me look bad. It's like, you know, it's like, we might discover new lands and all that, but, you know, I've kind of, don't do it. Okay, it'll make me look bad. If that person hadn't, for example, or those group of people hadn't, then we wouldn't discover new lands and all that. So it's almost like by listening, because the other side of it is by listening to those voices that saying that are like, yeah, you can't do that, or, you know, you're not doing too well, or, you know, you're not succeeding, or whatever sort of thing, or you're like, you only got that job because of, you know, you did this with this person sort of thing. It's like, if you listen to that, then all that is like, hey, jump into our pool of toxicity and join the swimming circle sort of thing, because that's where they want you, in their comfort level sort of thing. They don't want you succeeding in life. So once again, it's sometimes you've got to get out of the pool of that toxicity, of people just wanting to pull you down under the water of toxicity, and you've got to start moving away from those people. Or just not so much moving away from the people, or just quieting down their voices in your head, where their judgments mean very little, and that where it's like the worth of what they have to say. If something is of toxic worth, is it of true worth, or is it of actual positive value? I mean, if I gave you a toxic drink and a nice healthy drink, I guess, and I mean toxic by poison and a nice healthy drink, I guess making a comparison, a judgment, which would you actually choose? If you choose the toxicity, I guess it's like, is it just out of like, well, I'm just going to choose toxicity, screw him? Or is it like, also, is that just what we've learnt to actually drink because we actually view the toxicity as normal? Or do you just naturally take the healthy drink sort of thing, because then you get the health benefits of it sort of thing? So really, with all these things, I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong, because then it becomes a judgment. I guess it's just different points of view of it. You could just go, well, that was nice, and I'll just go back to what I'm doing. But I guess if it is resonating with you, then what we can actually do now is do a EFT tapping on the comparative judgment complex and how it actually impedes our life in actually going forward. So rating how, sorry, let's try not to burp. There you go, honesty. But rating where the SUD score of comparing yourself to others or judging yourself on others, and how that feels in your actual body and your mind, from a SUD scale of 0 to 10. And we'll do a EFT tapping on the comparative judgment complex. So starting with the top, we'll start with the setup statement. So, even though I may compare myself to others, and I may be judging others for their successes or their failures, I'm still open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm comparing myself to that person because they've got it better than me, or they've got it worse than me, and I'm forming a judgment on them of how they got to be that way. I'm still open to loving and accepting myself. Even though they got that thing because they were just so lucky and they really don't deserve it. But I do deserve it. And I'm going to form a judgment on them. I'm still open to loving and accepting myself. Top of the head. All this comparative. All this comparative judgment. All this judgment I form. All this comparison I form on that person or those people for doing well in life. Because they don't deserve to do well in life. Only I deserve to do well in life. So I'll sling a bit of mud their way. I'll form a judgment on them. I might say some nasty things to them. Or behind their back. Because they really didn't deserve what they got in life. That success, or that failure that they had in life, they just didn't deserve it. Only I deserve nice things. And I really want those nice things that that other person has. So I can feel the same level of happiness and success that that person has. And maybe if I had all those successes that that other person had, and I was seen as a successful person, then there might be someone else in life that's forming a judgment on me. They might be slinging some mud at me. And that doesn't feel good. Because I deserved my success. I was really beautiful. And someone else beautiful came along. And somehow I was less beautiful. Maybe to the people that were looking at this new person. But it's not like this new person came along and I suddenly got really ugly. Like the wind suddenly changed. And somehow I was less beautiful. And there might be other people looking at this more beautiful person. But am I actually that ugly? Or is that a judgment I've formed in my mind? Maybe if I did this and that, to myself, I could be more beautiful than that person. Or I could be more successful than that person. And then another person comes along that's more beautiful and more successful. And back in the ugly pool I feel. Back in the unsuccessful pool I feel. Swimming around in that toxicity. It's going around and around. But maybe it's a perception that I have. That I'm less successful or less beautiful than that person. Because what people really find attractive, what people are naturally drawn to, are those that feel good in themselves. Because when we feel good in ourselves, we tend to naturally share that goodness with others. We don't naturally mean to, but it might be our innate ability to feel good about ourselves and to forgive ourselves for when we might form negative judgments about others. Because like testing the hot and cold water, we just naturally do it as humans. But we don't want to be testing the water all the time. We want to be focusing on ourselves and what we're naturally good at. We kind of want to let go of that toxicity. We want to start feeling good about ourselves. Jealousy is a dish best served cold. And I don't want to feel cold. I want to feel heartless about people. I want to naturally see someone doing good. I want to naturally see someone that's struggling in life. And maybe give them some goodness. It's kind of like raising an army in a way. An army of good. You can fight a battle alone. The struggle that people call life. Or we can band together. Helping each other. Comparing less. Raising people up. And feeling good in myself when I do that. And if I'm listening to a toxic pool of people feeling the toxic effect, it might be time to ease off that toxicity and focus on your own goodness and go beyond your own limit. So I'm going to listen to that judgment less and focus on my own good. Focus on my own beauty. I'm going to focus on my own success. And I'm not going to listen to that toxicity. I'm releasing that toxicity. I'm releasing that bitterness I feel. I'm releasing that bitterness I feel when I compare myself to someone else. I'm releasing that feel-good feeling that I get when I judge someone else. I'm releasing that toxicity. Releasing that from every part of my body. Because I deserve to feel goodness. And I hope one day, that when I'm lost, that I have someone that's listened to their own goodness. To help me forward in life. Because if they're going forward in life, then I might go forward in life. But if I listen to that toxicity, I'm going round and round in a tireless circle, then I'm not getting anywhere. I'm releasing that toxicity in body, mind, and soul. Taking a deep breath in. Seeing where that sits for you, it may have just been a bit of a cognitive shift. It may have been an awareness of, are we actually moving forward in life, or are we going around in circles, being stuck by, stuck in that groove of comparing and judging. And it can be quite complex, all that comparing and judging. It can not be solved easily in one tapping round, for example. But I guess with everything, once we address or become cognitively aware of a problem, or we have a cognitive shift about an awareness of a problem, then we can start to address a problem. And then we can start actually moving forward in life rather than round and around. But yeah, so I'm Dion. I'm from Eflowtion, an EFT tapping practitioner and Soma breath instructor. Once again, if you haven't seen, there is a live event offering Soma breath and a group EFT tapping that is this Tuesday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to sign up and we'll do some tapping and Soma breath. The tapping element will reduce, I guess, any stress, and the breath element will really rebalance and I guess energize these new emotions that come in, positive emotions. So once again, that's this Monday, 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale on Eventbrite or on this Facebook website. So once again, I'm Dion, and I'll see you in the next one.